On the day I rode my bike 212 miles, I was peeing every 35 minutes. I realized something was seriously wrong with my body and I had no idea what to do about it. But on another road, in another state, that I had no idea where we were at, and I realized one of the most important lessons I've ever learned about building a team. Let me tell you about the team, the people that actually made the ride a possibility. There was 3 people that were crucial to my success on the journey. Mike was with us every single mile in the van. This guy was an incredible add to the team. He not only managed the logistics of the routes, but he managed every single thing that I put in my body, the fuel, the nutrition, the hydration, and he brought an overall sense of calmness and humor. Logan was documenting the entire thing behind the camera, telling the story from his point of view, from my point of view, and so that everybody following along could understand what we were really doing on this journey. And then there's Joey. Joey's the one who got me ready to actually ride my bike this far. In 5.5 months, he took me from a guy who couldn't ride 10 miles to somebody who rode 1,886 miles. He's also an expert nutritionist and a professional cyclist, so having him along on the journey was very helpful for me to understand from a logistics perspective how to manage my body and also how to manage the bike. On the day I rode 212 miles, I had a big problem. I was peeing every 35 minutes. My body was literally expelling fluids faster than I can consume them. Now, being just an average Joe, I thought that my body was doing what it was supposed to when it's well hydrated. But it turns out my sodium intake was too low, so I was not retaining any of the fluids I was consuming. Mike and Joey realized this was a problem before I did. I think it was on bathroom break number 3. They put their heads together and came up with an electrolyte mix that helped fix this problem in less than an hour. Literally, my body felt good. Is there a cow coming up?
You got a cow coming.
Literally, my body felt way better immediately, and it was because I trusted people to own their lanes. I didn't ask any questions and I just did what I was told. So I just continued to follow what they asked me to do. Turns out Mike was hiding 3 scoops of carb mix in every single water bottle he handed me, making sure I was getting over 60 grams of carbs an hour. Again, being a non-cyclist, not an endurance athlete, I had no idea the importance of carb consumption along this journey. The other thing he was giving me was these granola bars. I absolutely hated them. They were disgusting. But it wasn't my job to tell him what I liked and didn't like. It was my job to listen to what he, the expert, said I needed in that moment and just trust that he knew more about how to fuel for this journey than I did. What I learned on this ride about leadership is if you truly want to achieve great things, you have to trust the talent you surrounded yourself, even if you think there's a better way. You have to surrender to the people you've gotten in business with and follow their lead. Another great example is Joey. I hired Joey 5.5 months before the ride began as my coach. He was a professional cyclist and also an endurance athlete. This guy knew what it took to get my body and my mind ready to go from somebody who couldn't ride a bike to somebody who could literally do 150 miles a day for 12 days in a row. There was so many days when I looked at Joey's training plan and I thought he had it all wrong. I thought there had to be a better way to get myself in shape. I thought there had to be a better way to spend less time on the bike, but still receive the same benefits of the training plan. There was days when I didn't want to do it. There was literally a day when halfway through the training session, I got off the bike at 4 a.m. and laid on the floor. I just wanted to quit. I didn't trust that Joey knew what he was doing. But at the end of the day, I went back to this whole concept of, if you want to achieve great things, you have to surround yourself with great people and let them own their lanes. So I got over my pity party, I got back on the bike, and I followed the plan. Little did I know that following Joey's training plan would allow me to ride 1,886 miles at an average pace of 17.8 miles, covering on average 157 miles a day. If you would have told me 6 months ago that that was what I would be able to do as a non-cyclist, I would have told you were crazy and to bet the house against me. But it turns out Joey was right. He had me dialed in and prepared to accomplish what I had set out to on this mission. Another moment I realized that I just had to let people own their lanes was when I was watching the content that Logan was creating. I think so many leaders and so many CEOs struggle letting go of creative control of how they tell their story or the business's story. But I don't know anything about content. I don't know anything about creative. And that's why I got into business with Logan. There were so many moments where I was watching over his shoulder, watching the photos he took, watching the edits he made, and I wanted to tell him to do it differently. I wanted to get in there and do it myself. But at the end of the day, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to storytelling through the camera. And so who am I to stand over Logan's shoulders and micromanage him? I got out of the way and let him document the story. Let him tell the facts as he saw them in the moment, along on the journey, sharing every single mile with me. And he did an incredible job. Had I got involved, it It would have been absolute trash. The only way to achieve the success I desired from this mission was to trust the talented people I surrounded myself with and get out of their way. Leadership isn't just about building a team. Leadership is about surrounding yourself with incredible talent and letting them do their job, letting them own their lanes. I could never have ridden my bike from Mexico to Canada by myself. I would have had no idea what to eat. I would have had no idea what to drink. I would have had no idea how to actually train for this mission. And even more, I wouldn't have been able to document and capture the entire thing and tell the story to so many people following along on this journey. But the talented people I surrounded myself with, the people on the team that we built, they were far more capable than I was. And so all I had to do was get out of their way. So let me leave you with this question. Why, as leaders, do we feel the need to hire talented people and tell them how to do their job? The most important thing you could do this week, the most important thing I could do this week, is shut the hell up and get out of their way. Talented people find a way to succeed in spite of your micromanagement, in spite of your oversight, because they understand what the goal and the objective is, and they're far more capable than you are. That's all I got for this week. That's episode 2, Raw Reflections from the Ride. We got new episodes dropping every single week, and if you want to get the written version, check out the newsletter from the saddle in the description below.